They won't tell you this in your regular doctor's office, but if you've stopped touching yourself in your later years, your body might already be breaking down, and you probably have no idea it's happening. This isn't a joke and it's not a taboo topic, it's pure biology. Giving up this one natural act can quietly weaken your memory, drain your energy, disturb your sleep, lower your immunity, and even age your heart faster. I've seen it happen again and again in my patients, and it's one of the most preventable health mistakes you can make. Stay with me, because the truth I'm about to reveal could add years of strength, clarity, and vitality to your life. My name is Dr. Nathan Cole. I'm a urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping patients stay strong, sharp, and independent well into their later decades. And in all those years, I've noticed something most people never talk about until a quiet habit that disappears as we age, and with it, a key to our overall health. You see, sexual health isn't just about pleasure. It's about hormones, circulation, brain function, and emotional resilience. When we stop caring for this part of ourselves, whether because of shame, grief, or simply thinking it's not for our age, we set off a slow chain reaction in the body. The scary part? Most people don't notice the damage until it's far advanced. That's why today I'm going to walk you through 9 hidden consequences of giving up self-intimacy in later life. Some are physical, some are emotional, and some go deep into your sense of identity. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this simple act might be the most underrated health tool you still have, and how using it wisely can help protect your body, your mind, and your dignity. And if you believe sexual health should be part of the conversation at every age, let me know by typing 1 in the comments. It tells me you're still with me, and it helps more people see this important message. 1. Prostate and urinary decline. When I first began practicing urology more than 3 decades ago, I didn't expect so many of my patients to quietly admit something so personal, that somewhere along the way they simply stopped engaging in sexual activity even alone. One patient in particular stays with me, a fit, sharp man in his early 70s, still hiking on weekends, still playing chess with his friends every Thursday night. But lately, he'd been waking up 4 or 5 times a night to use the bathroom. His urine stream was weak, and sometimes he felt like he couldn't empty his bladder completely. He shrugged it off as just getting older. But when we talked deeper, I learned he hadn't ejaculated in years, not through intimacy, not through self-pleasure. Here's the truth most men don't know. Your prostate isn't just a passive gland sitting there. It's a living, active organ. It produces fluid, it expands and contracts, and like any part of your body, it suffers when neglected. Without regular stimulation and release, prostate fluid can stagnate. That stagnation is the perfect recipe for inflammation, swelling, and pressure, the kind that affects not only sexual function but also something as basic as urination. At first, it's a heavier bladder, then a weaker stream. Then an uncomfortable sense of fullness that doesn't go away. Left unchecked, chronic congestion can progress to benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, an enlarged prostate that affects nearly half of men over 60. In severe cases, it can lead to urinary retention, bladder infections, or even the need for a catheter. Here's the kicker. Studies show men who ejaculate 21 times or more per month are significantly less likely to develop prostate cancer than those who don't. And no, this isn't about being a teenager again or chasing some fantasy. This is about function. It's about using your biology to protect your body. That patient I mentioned, he eventually needed surgery to relieve the pressure, a procedure that might have been avoided if we'd addressed his prostate health earlier through something as simple as regular, healthy release. And I've seen the mental toll too. Losing control of your bladder doesn't just disrupt your nights, it chips away at your confidence. I've had patients plan their days around bathroom stops, decline long car trips, or even skip social events for fear of an accident. When you stop masturbating in later life, you're not just giving up pleasure, you may be trading it for discomfort, inflammation, and a gradual loss of independence. Your prostate is still listening, and it still needs care. 2. Brain fog and cognitive decline. Not long ago, a man in his late 60s came to see me, not because of prostate trouble, not because of low energy, but because he felt like he was losing his edge. He said, "Doc, I walk into a room and forget why I'm there. I lose my train of thought in the middle of a sentence. I used to be sharp. Is this just old age?" Yes, aging naturally brings changes to memory and focus. But here's what most people, even the health-conscious ones, don't realize. Sexual activity, including masturbation, plays a powerful role in protecting brain function. When you engage in self-pleasure, your brain releases a cocktail of neurochemicals. Dopamine improves motivation and focus. Serotonin stabilizes mood and supports memory. Oxytocin strengthens emotional balance and social connection. These chemicals don't just make you feel good in the moment, they protect your neural pathways, stimulate blood flow to the brain, and reduce cortisol, the stress hormone that in high amounts can damage brain cells. When sexual activity stops, especially for months or years, those protective surges become rare. Over time, the brain can lose sharpness. At first, it's small, forgetting a name, losing a word mid-sentence. But slowly, it can become trouble concentrating, difficulty processing information, and even loss of motivation. For men, there's another layer: testosterone. It's not just about libido. Testosterone influences mental clarity, decision-making, and confidence. And regular, healthy sexual release helps maintain healthy testosterone levels as you age. Some studies even suggest that reduced sexual activity in older adults may be linked to early cognitive decline, not because sex is a magic pill, but because the brain thrives on stimulation, hormonal balance, and emotional release. I've had patients stop going to their weekly chess club because they just can't think as fast anymore. Others stop reading or teaching because they feel blank in the mornings. And often, it's not Alzheimer's, it's disconnection from their own bodies. Here's the takeaway. When you stimulate the body, you awaken the brain. Stop doing it, and the fog can creep in. So slowly, you might not even notice, until you've lost a part of yourself you didn't know you could get back. Third, emotional numbness and depression. I once had a patient in his early 70s, a widower, who sat in my office and stared at the floor for a long time before speaking. When he finally looked up, he said, "I don't feel anything anymore. Not sadness, not joy, just flat. Is that normal for my age?" That question has stayed with me, because I hear versions of it far more often than you might think. Many people assume this emotional dullness is just a part of aging, but in reality, it's often tied to something very specific: the loss of sexual stimulation, especially self-intimacy. Here's the truth. The masturbation isn't only a physical act, it's also one of your body's most powerful emotional release valves. During climax, your brain releases oxytocin and endorphins, natural mood stabilizers that reduce anxiety, relieve tension, and lift your sense of well-being. When that release disappears from your life, especially during times of stress, grief, or loneliness, something subtle begins to happen. You stop feeling as much. At first, it's just less excitement about hobbies, then less interest in socializing, then maybe less motivation to even get out of bed. I've seen people become quieter, more withdrawn, sleeping too much or too little, and losing their appetite, all without realizing that part of the problem is physical disconnection from themselves. And here's the cruel irony. Most older adults don't connect these feelings to sexual inactivity. They blame their age. They think it's just how life is now. But in many cases, the emotional numbness is avoidable, even reversible. One patient, after years of avoiding self-touch, decided to begin again as part of a wellness plan. A few months later, he told me, "I feel alive again, not just in my body, but in my mind." It wasn't magic, it was biology, because when you touch your body, you remind your brain that you're still here, you're still capable of joy, and you still deserve to feel. Stop that connection, and you're not just risking sadness, you're risking emotional atrophy and the slow fading of your will to fully live. Fourth, poorer sleep quality. A man in his late 60s once came to me looking worn out. His eyes had that dull heaviness I've seen countless times, the look of someone who hasn't slept well in months. He told me, "Doc, I fall asleep fine, but like clockwork, I wake up at 2 a.m. and it's like I've been shot out of a cannon. Then I just lie there, staring at the ceiling, waiting for morning." We ran all the usual tests, no sleep apnea, no major lab abnormalities. Then I asked a more personal question. When was the last time you were sexually active? Even alone? He looked away and said quietly, "That part of me, it's over." But here's the thing. The part he thought had expired may have been exactly what his body needed to sleep deeply again. Sleep isn't just about closing your eyes. It's a delicate hormonal dance. And one of nature's most effective sleep triggers is orgasm. During climax, your body releases oxytocin, prolactin, and endorphins, a perfect chemical mix that signals your nervous system to relax, your muscles to soften, and your mind to shift from alertness into rest. At the same time, cortisol, the hormone that keeps you tense and awake, drops sharply. Remove this process from your life, and you remove one of your body's oldest, most reliable ways to prepare for restorative sleep. Poor sleep isn't just about feeling tired. Over time, it can weaken your immune system, impair memory, raise heart disease risk, and accelerate cognitive decline. In older adults, it can also lead to falls, confusion, and loss of independence. That same patient, after reintroducing healthy self-intimacy into his nightly routine, later told me, "I sleep like I did 30 years ago. I didn't realize how much I needed that release." Sometimes, better sleep doesn't come from a pill. It comes from giving your body permission to do what it's always known how to do. Fifth, weak pelvic floor and circulation. Several years ago, I treated a retired firefighter in his 70s. This was a man who had carried people out of burning buildings, climbed ladders with heavy gear, and prided himself on his strength. But when he sat down in my office, he admitted something quietly. "Doc, it feels like the foundation of my body is giving out." He'd started to notice mild urinary leakage, discomfort when standing for long periods, and a strange heaviness in his hips and lower back. What he didn't realize was that these symptoms were tied to pelvic floor weakening, a problem I see all the time in older adults who've stopped engaging in regular sexual activity. Your pelvic floor is a group of muscles at the base of your core. They support your bladder, bowel, and sexual organs. They also play a key role in stability, balance, and posture. During arousal and orgasm, these muscles contract rhythmically. Think of it as a natural workout for the base of your body. This improves blood flow, keeps tissues elastic, strengthens nerve signals, and helps maintain bladder control. When that activity disappears for months or years, those muscles can slowly atrophy. Blood flow slows, nerve responses weaken, tissue loses its resilience. The results? More frequent urges to urinate, dribbling after using the bathroom, difficulty holding gas. For some, pain during movement or intimacy. In men, it can mean a sharp drop in erectile function. In women, it can lead to dryness and tension that discourage all intimacy. And here's the hard truth. Once the pelvic floor becomes weak, rebuilding it is possible, but it takes time. Regular, healthy sexual stimulation is one of the simplest, most natural ways to keep it strong in the first place. For that retired firefighter, reintroducing self-intimacy didn't just restore a sense of masculinity, it literally gave him back the foundation of his body. Your lower body isn't done just because you're older, but it does need a reason to stay strong. 6. Lower immune function. A few winters ago, one of my long-time patients, a man in his late 60s, came into my office looking worn down. He'd been sick 3 times in just a few months. "Doc, I used to bounce back from a cold in a day or two. Now every bug knocks me out for weeks," he said. We went through the usual suspects: diet, stress, sleep, medications. Nothing explained the sudden drop in resilience. Then I asked a more personal question. "Have you been sexually active at all, even solo?" He smiled uncomfortably and shook his head. Nah, that part of me's retired. What he didn't know, and what most people don't, is that sexual activity, including masturbation, has a direct impact on the immune system. During arousal and orgasm, your body releases not just feel-good chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, but actual immune-enhancing agents. One of the most important is immunoglobulin A, IgA, an antibody that forms your body's first line of defense against viruses and bacteria, especially in the respiratory and digestive systems. Levels of IgA have been shown to rise significantly after sexual activity. You also get a boost in endorphins, which reduce inflammation and speed healing. At the same time, stress hormones like cortisol drop, and high cortisol is known to weaken immune defenses over time. Remove that process from your life, and you remove one of your body's easiest, most natural defenses. In your later years, and when immune function is already slowing, that's like pulling the batteries out of your smoke detector. That same patient decided to try reconnecting with self-intimacy, not for desire, but for health. Months later, he came back with brighter eyes and said, "I can't explain it, but I just feel stronger, like my body's working with me again." Your immune system doesn't care about shame. It only responds to action. And sexual stimulation is one of the most powerful, underused actions you still have. 7. Loss of body ownership and self-worth. I'll never forget a quiet conversation I had with a retired school principal in his late 70s. He was a man who once commanded a room with ease, confident, articulate, respected. But that day, he sat across from me with his shoulders slightly hunched and his eyes downcast. He said, "Doc, I don't really feel like I live in this body anymore. I'm just inhabiting it." That sentence hit me hard because I've heard it, in different words, from so many men and women. Somewhere along the way, they stopped feeling at home in their own skin. And often, it began when they stopped caring for themselves sexually. Self-touch isn't just about physical pleasure. It's about presence. When you stimulate your body, even gently, even without a goal, you remind your nervous system that you are here, alive, and worth noticing. When that connection fades, something dangerous can happen. You stop looking in the mirror. You ignore small aches or changes. You start believing this chapter of life isn't worth nurturing. Over time, this disconnection can erode self-worth. People withdraw from affection, stop dressing with care, skip exercise, and neglect nutrition because deep down they've stopped valuing the body they live in. One woman told me she hadn't touched herself since menopause. "I just stopped feeling like a woman," she said. "The less I touched myself, the more I disappeared." That word, disappeared, says it all. Neglecting your physical connection to yourself isn't just about losing intimacy. It's about losing visibility, vitality, and identity. Reclaiming your body through self-intimacy isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring the life that's still in you. It's saying, "I'm still here. I still feel. I still matter." 8. Cardiovascular and blood pressure. Health. Your heart might not be the first thing you think about when we talk about sexual health, but it should be. Because every time you engage in healthy sexual activity, even alone, you're giving your cardiovascular system a natural workout. Here's what happens. During arousal, your blood vessels dilate, a process called vasodilation. This increases blood flow, lowers resistance in your arteries, and can lead to lower blood pressure in the hours after release. Your heart rate rises in a way that's safe and beneficial, similar to a brisk walk. This boosts circulation, delivers oxygen-rich blood to your organs, and trains your heart to respond efficiently to physical demands. Over time, this can help maintain healthier blood pressure levels, support overall circulation, reduce risk factors for heart disease and stroke. And here's something many people don't know. Emotional release during orgasm also reduces chronic stress, which is a major driver of heart disease. When cortisol and adrenaline stay elevated, they strain your cardiovascular system. Sexual release helps bring those levels down naturally. I had one patient in his late 60s who struggled with borderline hypertension. Along with diet and light exercise, I encouraged him to maintain regular self-intimacy. Months later, his blood pressure readings were consistently lower, and his cardiologist was pleasantly surprised. Think of it this way: it's your heart's workout without the treadmill, one that's available to you anytime, anywhere, and doesn't require a gym membership. Your heart doesn't care about social taboos. It cares about blood flow, relaxation, and rhythm, and healthy intimacy provides all three. 9. Hormonal youthfulness and skin vitality. When we think about looking younger, most people picture expensive creams, spa treatments, or strict diets. But here's a little-known truth: healthy sexual activity, including self-intimacy, can help your body maintain a more youthful appearance from the inside out. Here's why. During sexual arousal and climax, your body boosts production of hormones like testosterone and estrogen. In men, testosterone supports muscle tone, energy, and vitality. In women, estrogen helps maintain skin elasticity, moisture, and hair health. Both hormones are key to collagen production, the protein that keeps your skin firm and smooth. That post-release glow, it's not your imagination. Increased blood flow during intimacy delivers more oxygen and nutrients to your skin cells, giving your complexion a fresher, healthier look. On top of that, sexual activity lowers chronic stress levels, and less cortisol means fewer breakouts, reduced inflammation, and a slower breakdown of collagen. I once had a female patient in her late 60s who told me half-jokingly, "Doc, my friends keep asking what cream I'm using. I tell them it's not in a jar." The truth was, she had made self-intimacy a regular part of her self-care routine, and it showed. Now, this isn't about chasing youth, it's about maintaining vitality. Your skin, hair, and overall energy are reflections of what's happening inside your body. When your hormones are balanced and your circulation is strong, it shows, not just in the mirror, but in how you carry yourself. Self-intimacy is one of the most natural, affordable, and effective ways to keep those systems firing at any age. Final wrap-up. We've just covered 9 hidden consequences of giving up self-intimacy in later life, and I want you to notice something. Every single one of them connects to your health in a way most people never realize. Stop self-intimacy, and you risk prostate and urinary decline, brain fog and reduced mental clarity, emotional numbness and depression, poorer sleep quality, weak pelvic floor and reduced circulation, lower immune function, loss of body ownership and self-worth, higher blood pressure and weaker heart health, hormonal imbalance that ages your skin and body faster. None of these are small issues. Together they form a chain reaction, a slow erosion of your independence, your vitality, and your connection to yourself. And here's the part I need you to hear. This chain reaction is preventable. You don't need expensive medications, special equipment, or a partner. You just need permission. Permission to see self-intimacy as an essential form of care, not a source of shame. I've watched patients reclaim their energy, their confidence, and even their joy simply by reconnecting with their own bodies. Sometimes it started with one small act, one moment of saying, "I'm still here, I still matter." This isn't about being who you were at 20, it's about refusing to surrender the best parts of being alive: connection, presence, and pleasure. At any age, your body is still listening, it's still capable, and it's still yours. So start small, start with curiosity, start tonight, because the most important touch you may ever give yourself might be the one that keeps you healthier, stronger, and more alive in the years ahead. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and leave a comment below. Your voice matters, and your story could be the one that helps someone else remember they are still worth caring for.